Clarification, I am not a Bengals bandwagon, I just like an underdog story. To understand the 2021-2022 season, first we have to go back to the 2019-2020 season. They had a 2-14 record, the worst record in the league, and the QB was Andy Dalton. Their bad record led them to their #1 overall pick, where they drafted a breakout star in college who just recently won a college championship, named Joe Burrow. Although the season wasn't starting great, Joe Burrow was shining bright. Oh my gosh, there's so many ads. Just skip this. Shining bright with a great start to his career, that is, until he tore his ACL midseason. With the battle line and injured Joe Mixon and not much else, the team ended up 4-11-1. The Bengals got the number 5 pick from the 2021 draft and got Joe Burrow's former teammate Ja'Marr Chase. Together the two would shine. All this brings them to this season. The beginning of the season had its highs and lows, with them having streaks of winning and losing to give them an even record. Despite the record, Ja'Marr Chase and Burrow were doing pretty well, along with Joe Mixon. The Bengals would get their fair share of wins against good teams, but also lose against some bad ones. It was all up to this point. At this point of the season, when it was beginning to end. Right at the end of the season, the Bengals got hot right at the end of the season with Joe Burrow throwing back-to-back 450-yard games against the Chiefs and Rams, alongside Ja'Marr's 120 and 266-yard games. The D was holding their own at the end of the season too. The only problem was the O-line. Going to the playoffs with a hot streak is what the team needed, fighting for their lives in the wild card. The Bengals won 26-19 against the Raiders and would have to move on to the Titans. Getting Derrick Henry off the injury reserve, the Titans looked as good as they were in the beginning of the season. But that didn't seem to scare the Bengals, and they beat the Titans with a game-winning field goal. Next, they would have to verse a tough opponent who were a threat to the Bengals at both sides of the ball. At the beginning of the half of the game, things weren't looking too great as they were down 21-3. But a big goal line stop before the half would prevent the score gap from being larger. After that, it was all an uphill battle. After a few touchdowns from Joe Mixon and Ja'Marr, they had to tie it up with a pair of with a 2-point conversion, and did. Then both teams would kick field goals, and the Bengals D would stop KC from scoring to put the game into OT. KC would win the coin toss, but Mahomes would throw another field goal, throw a pick, and it was all over from there. The Bengals marched down and kicked another game-winning field goal to go to the Super Bowl. Next is LA in the Super Bowl. Will the number 6 seed underdogs beat LA to become the Super Bowl champs? We'll see in 2 weeks. I think this is a pretty critical moment in my life because it's a cool underdog story, and I haven't seen one in a while.